What is going on? What a day. We could have an absolute monster of a day on our hands today. There are some big levels being tested at the moment and some major moves that will come as a result of it. Euro USD. I am currently Euro USD short, running about 2 pips down at the minute, but that makes no difference. 21.10 is the level that we are looking at here. That is going to hold the vast majority of answers for where the next leg of this pair is going to go. For those that follow the news or some fundamentals, you will have seen that there are some relatively positive noises coming out surrounding US stimulus packages, and so that is going to likely feed into the rest of today. So looking at potentials, as I say, we have this area down at, oh wow, I didn't want to put that level through, I wanted to put a little ray through. So we have this level down at the 21.10, gets us past this area of support. So if we just bring that up, the little area of support that we have through here, once we get through that zone, then obviously it leads into that drop back to the downside. Once we get through the downside, pretty much a given that we're going to come back to 120.50. From there, obviously, we're going to see what happens afterwards. If we pop back above 21.50, back the highs here, just come out to the 4 hours quickly. If we pop back above the highs, it's pretty clear that we're going to continue this bullish run. However, after such a push to the upside, it's a pretty much, it would be highly irregular, highly unlikely, the fact that we just see price go to the upside and continue. The pullback down into 120.50 seems the far more logical situation at the moment. As we come into the lower time frames, obviously what we're seeing is just a period of consolidation, hence the reason that 21.10 holds all the answers. I have just taken a short position just because it meets my criteria. If we break back above 35, then I'll probably close that, take the couple of pips loss and wait for 21.10 to go. However, for me at the moment, the patterns that I trade, the criteria that I personally trade, have been met, and therefore I am content with the position. Pound yen. We'll get rid of that because that's just a planned trade that is set up. Pound yen. We highlighted this area yesterday. I was chatting this particular kind of trade through with somebody yesterday. This and Pound New Zealand, which we'll go through in just a moment. What we saw with the pair yesterday is obviously a large push up in the morning, and again the same with Pound New Zealand. Saw that large push up in the morning, which was relatively unexpected. There was no real reason for it. It just seems that we needed to fire into these key levels. That happened. We sat around. Did send a trade plan out for a long above 145.10. If you take a little look, obviously we can see why that would be. 20 145 has been key for us previously. Therefore, the pop above that, the only logical explanation and place for that pair to then go is to 146.50. I will take 150 pips every day of the week. Now, what we're seeing is this double bar formation ending in, at the moment, on the 4-hour time frame, ending in this bearish bar. If we can end up just closing a little bit lower, popping down to like 144.50, then that's pretty much a given. I think we will see the shorts back down. Down below 144.50 will give us 130 at 43.80, which is kind of like the consolidation range low at the moment. Previous resistance likely to turn support. We'll then see what happens once we get through that previous resistance level. If we come back out to the daily, you can see that the pullback into 141 makes a lot of sense. And therefore, that is what we will be targeting should that come into play. We saw yesterday close with a reasonable amount of weakness. Seeing today, we just need to get through the daily lows, and we will be golden. Hence the reason at 144.40, 144.50, somewhere around there. Now, this level was highlighted at the 80 level. Wow, my coffee's still very hot. At 144.80, we highlighted this level as the potential area to see some, like we've seen it as act as resistance and support previously through this zone. So we were expecting to see some support held. The support held, we broke through, came back retested. We're starting to see that swing form again at the moment. Now, the fact that we've seen that end shape in the market, swing high, swing low, and we've broken back above that, and we're starting to fail to break back below the lows, means that this long opportunity above 145.10 back to 146.50 makes a lot of sense still. It's still very much a valid setup. This could just be a slight respite on the push up and profit take from the push up that we saw yesterday occur. If you look from Tuesday up to yesterday morning, obviously the pair had jumped the best part of 100 pips, and therefore seeing about 50% of that go back as a profit take is absolutely understandable. So we will see what happens. First port of call, pointing at my screen like you can see me doing that, back above 144.80. If we can get back above 144.80, we're coming to 145. Then, as I say, what we do from there is down to us. Popping back above 145 makes a lot of sense. 145.10 as a potential entry would be good. So, shorts below 144.50 down to range low. That will bag you 70 pips. It will only be about a 2-to-1. So be mindful of that when it comes to risk to reward. Below, however, 143.80, and it is open season back to 140. So options available and a couple 100 pip options. We are starting to see some movement coming into the pairs. Let's just run through Pound New Zealand as well, because it's a similar situation. You can see my alert has just gone off at 191.40. Obviously, I entered a short position, got triggered in at 190.90 yesterday. We can clearly see how that played out for me. That didn't go very well. Yesterday, I dropped about 2.5%. Not the greatest start, if I'm honest, but it is what it is. Again, we're just finding some consolidation. We've literally just had a breakthrough of the lows of that consolidation. So we'll let the pair play out for a little bit. We'll see how price acts. A pop back above 192, I am going to take a log. Let's come back out. You can see 192, where we've acted previously through here. as resistance 1, 2, 3. We're getting our fourth test of this level at the moment. If we break back above, it's pretty clear cut that 195, 194.50 is going to be found, and it's probably going to happen quite quickly. The previous highs that we've seen through here, the area that we've got highlighted, previous lows, previous highs, all the way through here, is the area that we've highlighted to potentially bounce from or see a pullback to once we'd seen yesterday's move. We pushed up, we have come back, we are floating around that area at the moment. Again, it's pound New Zealand, so we know that these drops are pretty significant in how many pips are potentially on offer around these zones. So that's a drop of about 50 pips into where we are at the moment. Now, if we push back up, retest the area that we broke out from, so at 191.50, and we pop back below 40, then the potential short is there. However, that doesn't make the overall amount of sense, given the fact that from here back up to here, we're going to need around about 35 to 40 pip stop loss, and from here back down to here is about a 40 pip target. That makes very little sense. The short, as I took yesterday, from below 190.90 makes the most sense. That's the safest position that we could probably take at the moment. After seeing the breakout, get that push back down to 89.50, 140 pips. And then obviously look for the break lower after that, back down to 186. Not convinced that that's going to come. The pound seems far too strong at the moment. Why? I have no idea. It surrounds the the COVID vaccines. But to be honest, there's a lot of mixed noise coming out about that from Europe also. So we'll see if that transpires over here. The New Zealand and the Aussie dollar haven't particularly been the strongest currencies of late either. However, again, there's no real reason for that to be the case. So we should probably see those gain some strength again at some point. Anyway, like we said, a jump back above 192. There's no point taking a position until we get above that. You could probably take one from 91.60 if you so wished. That would probably be enough to see you hit 92 at least. From 92 though, we do just need to be mindful. We want to get above these highs before we start to want to take long positions. However, higher high, higher low situation. Next option is a higher high. All the signs are there that the long is probably the more likely scenario. Again, with pound yen also. The long, looking as things stand, the most likely scenario, but we will plan for both eventualities. Below 190.90, see ya. Above 192, you're laughing. Both hold as much weight as each other at the moment. Euro New Zealand, something that I have been watching. Saw rejection from quite a key level yesterday. Similar to pound New Zealand as well, we saw these little spikes. Saw these spikes come back down. Same things happened. Spike up. We've broken below the consolidation. Again, similar setup to the pound New Zealand also. Rejection away from consolidation low. Push back down to 166.50. Break back up above 168. Gives the long back up. Let's just move that back down to there. A break back above 168.10 will give you the long back to 69.80. Back inside of this consolidation period and this consolidation zone. The fact that we broke through, we've now come back to retest that level, and we're starting to see a lot of noise, gives us a little bit of confidence that there might be a potential short play here. Also, just need to get back below this area at 67.50. But for the time being, like I say, we are certainly floating around potential levels at the moment. So rejection away. we can take an earlier entry with the run at 50, being mindful that we are likely to see price stall or potential pushback to the upside. So we need to be in and out if that's going to be the case. Order break below 50, back down to 66.30. Again, 100 odd pips on the table. Euro Oz gives a very similar picture. We pushed back up into 157, which we were talking about yesterday morning. We rejected, we've come back up, we were just floating around this area. We've broken back through the consolidation in the early hours, coming back, retesting 156.70. Do you think that will push a little bit higher into kind of around about 85 at some point this morning? Take a short away from 85. If we reject from this 56.70 region, then obviously we can take the short down, be mindful at 56. And then continue that short back to the downside. We have obviously been targeting 155.50. Once we get through here at the lows, then obviously 155.50 seems very, very logical indeed. A break back above 56.70, we need to wait for 57 to go. Once 57 goes, then obviously up to 157.80. 158, 159. So we have our levels and areas involved in the charts. We just need to be mindful and watch and keep watch on what is going on at given points in time. Just see how things progress. Dollar CAD. I know we managed to take an entry from 127.40. Obviously broke below 127 yesterday. That was a key level. Risk-free in the position. Failing to break the lows at the moment, which obviously isn't an ideal situation. But we are also about 70 pips to the good at the moment on the pair. So if we need to come out, then so be it. We just take the profit off the table. However, at the moment, we are coming back into previous support, looking to use that area as potential resistance. So if there is further downside on the US dollar, then we will continue to see that drop back down. However, I'm not completely sold on the fact that that is going to be the case. I think there is a very, very strong chance and very, very strong possibility that we don't see that push back down. And that we do start to see potential push back to the upside. That thing obviously we do need to be very mindful of, and we do need to keep an eye on. So we shall see how we progress with that. We have seen a pretty sustainable move with the swings that we're seeing, come back retesting key levels, swings that we're seeing. However, failing to get below the lows here at 75 is obviously of a concern. If we break back below those lows, the short is obviously definitely still the preferred option. If we break back above 127, then we might take profit off the table, turn our attention to long positions back up. Euro yen, similar to pound yen. We have seen these pushes down, pushed up into key levels, pushed up into key level yesterday. We've slowly come back down. For a short, we do need to get below 126.60 or 126.50, depending on your risk appetite. That is a given. Like, that has to happen if we want to continue any momentum to the downside. The fact of the matter is, we saw this swing, we're coming back up. Same with pound yen. We saw this swing, we've broken back up. So we do need to be very mindful. We can't take longs until we get above previous highs. We don't want to take a long here at 127.10, knowing that we've rejected hard previously from the 30 level. So we want to make sure that we get above 127.20, 127.30 before we take any long positions. Oh wow, that coffee's horrid. Oh, Jeez. Oh, I'm not drinking that. So yeah, the pop back above 127.20 would probably likely see us get to that long entry. However, anything below that, and when we're trapped in between 126.60, 127.20, it's a 60 pip range. You can range trade it if you want. I, however, am not going to at this point in time unless we get solid rejection from 27.20. So it's a case that we've seen some pretty sharp movements as the European session opened. I would very much anticipate and expect to see some very sharp movements once the London session opens, and that will probably give us a much clearer picture of what is going on. Pound longs do still seem favourable. Euro shorts look relatively favourable at the moment. But we shall see. They're all floating around key levels. Like I say, everything's around key areas at the moment. So we just need confirmations away, and we will have an abundance of positions on our hand. Euro USD, we shall see how we continue to play. We do need to get below 21.10. I do just want to have a look at gold. Where's my actual chart? If you made plans in that, get rid of that quickly. I was involved in a gold short yesterday, which we ended up getting stopped for break even. We're starting to see again this period of consolidation come into gold. Rejecting from the highs as things stand at 145.50. We do have the lows down here at 118.34.50, 134.8. So basically around that 40 region. So it's a little bit of a 20-30 pip window. We do just need to get clear of this area. Once we can get below, obviously we see a drop down. We do need to get out of the lows here at 18.37 and get back below 18.34. So like I say, around about that 40 pip window. Get below that area and it is a free fall back down. We just need to see how things progress. I do really quite like the behaviour that we're seeing. We have a potential head and shoulders formation coming into play. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head, neckline in play at that level that we were just talking about. So if we can see that situation come good and a push back to the downside, a solid close somewhere around 18.37 would give me the confidence to want to look to take a gold short. That plays in very nicely, as I say, with the Euro USD that we're currently in and currently looking to take advantage of. So I get that I've probably just spoken at about 400 miles an hour. However, like I say, there is a lot of potential going on this morning. We have obviously pound New Zealand, we have pound yen, we have euro yen, we have euro New Zealand, we have dollar CAD, euro USD, gold, and even go as far as pound dollar 2, just because again we're seeing a large spike. The pound is starting to see a little bit of weakness. Obviously a drop back below the lows. See us come back into 137.60 from, if we got back below 138.10, you're pretty much given a guarantee back down that 60 pips to 137.60. But then see where price goes from there. If we break through that, then it is open season back down to the lows. However, nothing's given. We shall wait and see. Obviously, a pop back above will give us a run at fresh highs. If we get a run at some fresh highs, then we are very likely to kind of settle back into this 140 area, which will be massive for the pair. If we can get back up as high as 140, it's been a very, very long time, 2016, 2018, since we were trading around those levels. So we shall see. Again, note, very large push to the upside. Not always massively sustained, so we will need to see what happens with that and where things go from there. So nothing's a given. There are definitely signs, like say getting that engulfing candle, that the dollar's ready to gain a little bit of strength. The pound looks ready to weaken off a little bit. Come to the 4 hours rejection away. So we shall wait it out. The only real concern at the moment is the yen. Not convinced that the yen's ready to give up the ghost just yet and gain its strength. It's taken an absolute pounding across most pairs. Only the dollar has really been weaker than the yen as of late. So we shall wait it out, see what happens. But I think there are quite a lot in regards of potential for this kind of day and for the rest of the week moving forward. So it will just pay to be a little bit mindful of what we've got going on, of the levels that we have in play. Obviously setting alerts, have alerts set at 40, so that will go off again. I do just need to restart a couple of alerts just to make sure that they are there. But we have a lot of potential. Just want to change that back to Euro USD because this position that I am in currently. But yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot that could potentially happen. Do believe that there was a bank holiday in Japan, and obviously Chinese holiday still. I think there is unemployment data for the US dollar out later on this afternoon, so we shall see what that comes out at. Claimant details, and there is forecast coming out of Europe too, but don't envision that they're going to be massively important to what happens on the charts today. The fact that we are seeing a lot of euro strength. Again, these could just be spikes back into these levels. We're starting to obviously see key levels. We're seeing key areas. If I just move this down, see that we're coming back into this area, this previous zone of breakout. So we shall see what happens. The fact that we closed below before is obviously a very good sign. So we will just have to wait and see. Keep an eye on how things go. The last couple of minutes of like a 30-minute window as well are always quite entertaining to watch. You start to see some mad pushes as that kind of period closes and gets ready for the next. And as I say, we are now coming into the London Open. So coming into that London Session Open, we are very likely to see some potential moves also. So we will have to wait out and see what happens over the next half an hour to an hour. But there is a very strong possibility of getting some movement into this morning. Hope everyone has a decent day, whatever it is you are up to, whatever it is you're doing. Be sensible, be safe. And like I say, I will be about through various social medias today and doing some admin. So I'll be in front of a computer most of the day. Have a decent day, whatever it is you are up to.